welcome everyone to are we going to call this the April meeting? The regularly scheduled April monthly meeting of the Easton's Affordable Housing Trust. Call to order right now at 6:03 p.m. And the first order of business, of course, is to see if everyone has had a chance to review our minutes the minutes from our meeting on March 31st.
Yes, we did.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the March 31st minutes.
I'll second it.
Oh, good job.
And then Dostumian, yes.
Hill, yes.
Stephen, yes.
Rodriguez, yes.
Yeah.
Jennifer Stacy, yes.
And I think Stephanie was a yes. Did I hear a yes in there briefly?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Okay, the next item for discussion is the updated housing production plan.
So not a ton to talk about. Amy and I talked a little earlier today, and she read through it and reports that seems to incorporate a lot of the stuff we talked about, and it looks pretty good. So thank you so much for doing that. I looked over it myself and noticed some things that need to be fixed. You know, they're still very, Easton's Open Space Committee. It's like, no, it's Conservation Commission. But, so things like that. And of course, I need to go through and verify some of the numbers for houses built and so forth. So, I've got that going on. I'm going to let this go to voicemail. I'm sorry, it's a little distracting. Then, I don't know if Amy has anything to say, and then we can sort of talk about dates for approvals and such.
Yeah, no, I think, a lot was incorporated, a lot of the changes that we talked about, some of the history of our previous plans is incorporated in there. The inclusionary zoning section was beefed up, which, I found to be very helpful in terms of where Easton is at and where it could go. And so, I think it's in good shape to go to the planning board and hear what they have to say and, go from there, keep the process moving. So.
Thank you. So something I did do is in that email that I sent out a very long time ago on, I think, Tuesday, like day before yesterday, sort of dates for the consideration and approval, and having an Affordable Housing Trust board presence at some of these meetings, and to the best of my knowledge, they're all still virtual now, could be really helpful. So, there may not be much in the way of like a significant speaking role other than some sort of, anodyne support or something. But, it's always helpful when board members attend. So the sort of 4 key dates we have are, this coming Monday, April 25th, and that starts at 6:30. It's the planning board, and they've got a full agenda, and the housing production plan is towards the end. So when will it come on? We don't really know. It's probably at some point after 7. So this could be a just keep it on in the background and, be prepared to show up and pay attention when that agenda item shows up. So if folks are available to just sort of have this in the background and signal that you're there, and if you are there, maybe have a few remarks to say about the importance of affordable housing, that could be helpful. Then the next one is the public meeting, and we need to get the notice out for that. And so I was talking with Elijah, that's where a lot of these dates came from. And we're looking at having the public meeting on Thursday, May 19 at 6, which is our next regularly scheduled Affordable Housing Trust meeting. So we could probably have just, minimal business and go right into the public meeting. And, hopefully most folks would be available for that. And then after that, for approvals, it has to be adopted by the planning board. And so we're on their calendar for Monday, May 23rd, and then it has to be adopted by the select board, and that's Monday, June 13th. So, of these dates, assuming things are okay with the planning board, then, maybe Monday, May 23rd isn't critical to have a full court press show up. But it could be helpful to have some attendance on Monday, June 13th. And that's at 6 o'clock. So it's just, sort of try and put some of these on your calendar and attend if possible, and let me know, because, as we've seen with past projects like this, the select board and the planning board really do respond when folks attend.
My only conflict, Wayne, is the upcoming Monday, because the select board has the joint meetings, but every other date works for me.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I'm there support everything we do.
Yeah.
I know that I won't be, I'll be traveling on the 19th. I don't know if you want to make note now, but the rest of those dates I'll make sure are on my calendar.
That's really helpful.
I coach softball on Monday nights now until 7:15. So I can join at that time.
Okay, so theoretically, you could sort of show up and be in the background.
Just be a little bit late. Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, so that's sort of the state of it. And then hopefully we'll get to an iteration with the planning board's comments that we can post on the website ahead of the May 19th public meeting, and end up with something that's, I don't know, like a near final, if you will, version for adoption. So thank you, really appreciate it.
Okay. All right, so should we move on? Let's see. I'm working on 2 monitors and it's a little bit wonky at the moment, sorry. Where did it go? I think I know the next agenda item anyways. The home buyer assistance grant program. Okay, we go. Yes, discussion on the home buyer assistance grant program. And we've been talking about that and kind of kicking it down the road a little bit, but the current housing market is making the home buyer assistance grant program, as we've used it, kind of rendering it impossible or just about impossible, if not completely impossible. And so Wayne and I had a conversation about it earlier today, and it's just not something that we would need, like, to be able to grant about $400,000, I would say, minimum, in order to purchase a habitable home in Easton at the current time. So I've been really trying to think critically on how to salvage this program. It's such a great program. How to creatively use it or change it. And I have not come up with anything. I think the best plan for now is just to update our website and take it off the offerings at this time. Just kind of suspend the program for now until we either come up with a great idea or the climate changes and it becomes more reasonable and feasible to provide grants that would make a difference in this area. And with that being said, I'm trying to think of some other ideas that we could be doing instead of that. And I talked to Wayne earlier about maybe, you know, revisiting some of the legal challenges that we had with the home buyers was it the repair grant? Is that what it was
Yeah,
called?
the home repair grant.
Home repair grant program, and maybe just I can have some discussions with attorneys I know about the just kind of maybe kick around some options for what we might be able to do in that light, either for
Nikki,
affordably, yeah.
have you seen any other, like, is there any benchmarking or any examples of what other communities are doing given the situation with out of, you know, crazy housing prices, interest rates going through the roof, and inventory being nil? Like, what are other communities doing, or is it just wait and see?
It's kind of us. Our home buyer assistance grant program has always been the biggest and most generous.
Mm-hmm.
So even
So-
at the best of times, we didn't really
Yeah.
have anyone to compare to. So
Okay.
Yeah, I think we've done 6. We managed to get 6 households assisted, which made a tremendous difference. They're all single women, almost all of them single moms. So it was a real material difference in people's lives.
Fantastic. It feels so sad to see that benefit having to be, it's a very frustrating situation.
similar
is.
to when we had to close down the home repair grant program, that was something that was really successful. And it turns out legally, it just, you know, it was, you know, it didn't comply with, I believe it was the anti-aid amendment of the Constitution, and there's not really much we can do to change that. It's a very complicated process, but I don't know, just thinking that maybe there are some, you know, I think what the best thing about this board, and Wayne, all your knowledge is we've done some really creative things with the money and the resources that we do have. And when things out of our control are kind of closing some of our options, just put our thinking caps on again and see if we can find some way to have some kind of creative outlet for our resources and opportunities. So I'm going to I'll be thinking about that.
I was thinking about not taking it off our website. What about let people know how much we can afford, how much the grant could be, and then make it available to somebody who can afford the balance of it, instead of taking it completely out, right? If you're under the poverty line, you may not be able to buy a house at all, probably no matter how much it is. But there are people at a certain level who can afford a little more. So why can't we make that available to those people instead of taking it off?
The big challenge is that your mortgage has to be smaller than your resale price. So what the grant does is it buys an affordability restriction on the property. And the affordable resale price is set by the state, and it's calculated as what a household can pay. A household at 80% of area median income can pay 1/3 of their monthly income for their monthly housing costs. So, you know, they do the calculation. And for a 3-bedroom single family house, it's about $225 to $250.
Right.
So your mortgage has to be below that. So, you know, say you get your $200,000 house, and you know your mortgage for 200 or something, but houses are selling for 5 or 6. Even a really generous grant, the mortgage they need would still be bigger than the resale price.
See.
Yeah, and then what and sort of the Affordable Housing Trust's annual allocation from CPA funds, roughly 10%. That's part of the state law. You have to set aside 10% of your CPA for historic resources, 10% for open space recreation, 10% for community housing. And the 10% for the for community housing is about 200,000. There's no obligation for CPA or town meeting to allocate it to the trust. They could allocate it to anything or just hold it in reserves in a special account. But historically, they've always transferred it to the trust. So, 200 grand is pretty much everything we get in a year.
I see.
So even if someone were willing to sell a house to someone at a reduced rate because the sales price of it potentially is so high, it could never work. Is that what I'm understanding?
They'd have to sell it at a very low price.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering if taking the program off means that if an opportunity came up, we'd miss it, versus is there any harm in leaving it there and pushing or promoting other programs instead?
I think the harm in leaving it there is that we get applicants somewhat regularly. So
Okay.
if we're like touting this program as available and possible, it's kind of misleading. And it just encourages people to apply to things that are not going to work unless it's a perfect situation.
Okay, so even if we were really clear, like it's a aspirational opportunity, like it's, I don't know, I just hate like the chance of losing that opportunity that might come. You just never know if.
I totally agree. And I would wonder, Wayne, if that would be like a situation where someone would come to us first with the sale opportunity, and then we would be able to list that opportunity.
Also, could that be the messaging
I
that,
don't know.
like, we can't run the program, but reach out to us? Even just something like that actually makes me feel a little better that it's not like
We could
away.
just maybe like asterisk it and say, because of current situations, the program is not
Like,
available.
it's not viable this moment.
Yeah, but if you are a seller interested in contributing to the program, like contact us or something like that. I just want to make it clear that potential buyers who are looking for support here aren't misled.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I wouldn't want to make anybody think there's a chance if there's not. But if there's even that little bit of a chance, if we can frame it in a way that markets it toward that chance, but is clear for everyone else. I don't know legally if there's any kind of consideration to come into play with that, but
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, can you legally say there's something that you're never going to get, or it's I don't know how to thread that needle. And we do.
I'm making it more complicated than.
No, this is why we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, what can we do? How can we gain something out here?
I just am thinking, like, what if someone, I don't know, sometimes people don't have family to pass stuff on to or something, or they want to, maybe there's reasons. I don't know. There could be a mechanism, but I don't know if the mechanism would allow for it regardless of this market or not. I'm not completely clear on that.
Yeah. It seems like someone, the scenario you're envisioning, which I've not seen but could theoretically happen, is someone would have a sort of a bargain sale opportunity, like, my grandmother wants to sell me the house for 300 grand or something like that.
Yeah, like an equity gift kind of situation.
Yeah. So, I do not know. But maybe we could, have it a note that, the program is suspended because it's likely not viable given the incredibly high initial purchase prices. But, please call Wayne to discuss details.
That's perfect. That's something at least that says it's not dead. It's just we're mindful.
Suspended.
Because I would like sort of clear messaging around that, because we do get folks, like I said, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna be, well, here's Chrisanne. I'm gonna be putting in my application. Do I send it to you? And it's like, it's like, okay, well, I can buy this house for 550, and if I get 95 grand, it's like, okay, but your resale price is going to be 225. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah. And I just got an email from Sam. She's having connectivity issues. And Chrisanne is in the attendees, so I'm promoting her. So hopefully Chrisanne will transfer over.
Wayne, how much do we have in the budget right now for this? What do we have
Yeah,
set aside? Like
I
where?
think it's like maybe 180-ish or something. I don't know exactly. Hold on a second.
Christine, we're talking about the home buyer assistance grant program. We're talking about suspending it, what the messaging around that is, and any viable options to keep it. At this time, it appears there are not that we can think of, and temporarily suspending.
Sounds like a plan.
I'm looking for the most recent financial report that I got from Wendy, which is a little out of date, but no. Sorry. I like to think I'm a little better organized, but all right. From last year, but we've not really spent anything out of it. Because we had two live programs or two live applicants who neither of whom could actually make it work with the market. So we made sure we had enough to fully fund both if that happened.
Yeah.
The home buyer assistance program has $194,833.60. So enough to fund two $95,000 grants.
What was that figure again, Wayne?
194,833.6.
Thank you.
Yep.
So if we temporarily suspend, so what are we gonna, do we transfer? Do we keep it there? That's I guess what we'd have to.
Yeah.
Right.
And maybe we think about that in July, assuming a positive vote at town meeting, there'd be the infusion of CPA funds, and that would be a good opportunity to reconsider how we're allocating the funds within our various sub-accounts.
So nothing needs to be urgently done as far as the transfer.
I don't know. I don't think so. And if something, shows up in the next 3 weeks where we need to spend 200 grand, then we can have a meeting and authorize a transfer.
Okay.
But yeah, this does sort of like tie into the larger conversation we'll be having in the next few months. Looking at the housing production plan as it reaches fruition, an action plan that may come out of that.
Mhm.
What are our priorities? What are the next couple of big projects that'll take a few years that we might be looking at? Land acquisition, senior housing, veterans housing, trying to see if there's any of the town properties that might be available. Sort of having those conversations. So I'm hearing that what I'll do is update the website with an application that basically has suspended written across it, and a note, the program is suspended due to I'll come up with a more professional way of saying it, the crazy market conditions. And please call me directly to have a conversation if you think it might be workable for you. something like that.
Okay. That works for me.
Or maybe not even say it's like suspended, maybe say, it's people having a hard time making it work with current market
Yeah,
conditions.
temporarily.
So, please call before considering submitting an application. Because there's a lot to it, and any of us who've like tried to look into property, it's overwhelming, and just all the things to consider. So, okay.
Okay.
I'll do that hopefully in the next few days, and then I can let you all know, and you can take a look and let me know, does that make sense? And I can continue tweaking if need be.
The only other thing that I was going to just very briefly mention is that the governor announced today a $3.5 billion economic development plan that has a long way to go to be passed. And it hasn't even been released. The actual text of the bill hasn't been released, but press releases have indicated that every community will, if the bill is passed, would get $250,000, and it looks like it would go towards housing, and a component of that could be affordable housing. So it's just something that I saw come through my email today, and I'm keeping an eye on, and maybe next time there'll be more to talk about on that front. But just part of Governor Baker leaving, and he's trying to re-envision a post-COVID reimagining of downtowns and downtown revitalizations. And it's probably going to be mostly focused in the cities, but early reports say every community will get at least, I think the number is 250,000, potentially more. So could be interesting.
And with this sort of funding infusion, that might be something a nonprofit could tap into in doing supportive veterans housing or senior housing. If we could identify a site or come up with the land and try to recruit a nonprofit, like we did with BAMC and Founders Street property.
Which is looking great, by the way.
Is it? Oh,
yeah.
Wonderful. Yay. That's great. Yeah, I haven't been by there for the last couple of months. I need to take a ride down.
Yeah, I drove by the other day, and it's looking quite close to done.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Go us.
Well, I don't have any other pertinent items. I guess just reconfirm our next or just our next set of a few dates. Again, April 25th, Monday, April 25th at 6:30. The planning board meeting. Any attendance from the AHT would be really appreciated. I will join in at like 7:15 if that's okay. Our next meeting, May 19th, Thursday, May 19th at 6. And then once again, the planning board meeting on the 23rd, May 23rd at 6:30, and the select board on Monday, June 13th at 6 o'clock. And so hopefully
and that assumes, of course, we all stay on track and
yep.
so on. But
yep. So hopefully we see each other, most of us again on April 25th, if not definitely the 19th, where we'll go over the 23rd and hopefully the 13th again after that.
Awesome.
And that's all for me. Anyone else? Should I make a motion to adjourn?
Are they going to send the site for the planning board meeting on Monday? Yeah.
The Zoom link will be in the agenda posted on the town website.
On the town site, okay.
And actually, I got, if you hold, I also have it in an email. So watch this. Son of a gun. Okay. I'm repurposing an email and making sure I'm not leaving anything terribly weird in there. All right, this should work, I think. So I think I've just sent that out. Okay, so thank you.
Yeah.
Got it.
Got it?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anything else from anyone? All good? Okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that.
Okay. Just do mean yes?
Stephen, yes.
Rodriguez, yes.
Yes. Alves, yes.
Stacy, yes.
Sheedy, yes.
All right.
6:33.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all. See you
Awesome.
the 25th.
Take care. Be well.
Bye.